guest speaker for today, Sreenath Maikkara. A warm welcome to you. Students from our college, from Government College of Arts, Science, Commerce, Khandola, and also all the students who have joined from other colleges. A big hearty welcome. This is Anita Raikar from the Department of Computer Science here to moderate this event. Uh, to cut it short, I would like to request our principal to formally welcome the gathering. And later on, I will be introducing our guest speaker for today. Yes. Over to you, principal ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Anita, so much. Our guest speaker, Sreenath, our alumni, best alumni, head of the computer science department, Sujata Gawkar, Anita Raikar, Likhita, newly joined faculties of computer science. My dear students from our college, dear students from various other colleges, my alumni which are present on this webinar platform, a warm good afternoon and welcome to you all for this session. And I am very glad that one of our alumni, Sreenath, is a head and lead of, is an engineer and a leader of a Facebook in UK. What a fortunate, principal I am to speak you, and I'm seeing you on this webinar platform at a distance, but your heart is within our college, your soul is within our teachers. And this is the really true sense of teaching, learning that is being imparted by Government College Kandola Computer Science faculty. It means, it means a lot. A person after having a very good career to be on the top of their life still remembers the teachers. What is the beautiful moment for my teachers, Anita or Sujata, to cherish for? I hope that you keep such a relation forever. And this is my very intimate message to all my dear students who are here or ex-students. Please be in touch with our teachers. And that shows, to what level they have learned you the, the knowledge. They shared you the ideas, they have given you the creativity and innovative thought they embodied within you. This is one of the example, Mr. Sreenath, an engineer, and now is the head of the Facebook in UK. I welcome you wholeheartedly, Mr. Sreenath. I'm very glad and fortunate to see you on that platform. Hope that you see you in Goa and we'll meet you in a virtual mode in presence in our department. You will see really our department growing. I don't know which batch passed out you are, but certainly I'll be there and my computer science department will be wholeheartedly wishing to see you on physical mode also. So I hope that my students will are going to get a good thoughts for today. They will learn from you how to be in your life, whatever you are. You can see, your dreams through. You can make anything possible under your sky. So that's it. My best wishes to Srinath and best wishes to all my dear students who are listening to for today's webinar. And thank you, Anita, for bringing in
Thank you,
such a
ma'am.
brilliant alumni on this webinar platforms. So thank you again once again, and have a good day for all of you listeners, and very happy moments of Diwali vacation in advance.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am, for your most encouraging words. And it is because of our principal that, we get motivated to do such innovative activities. Just to mention that it's a good morning for Srinath in London. Yeah. So just to summarize, today's resource person, his background and his expertise, I would take a few minutes over here. He was a technology fellow and vice president at Goldman Sachs. 2 months back, he joined Facebook to lead a newly formed engineering team based in London. Srinath has been instrumental in building large scale information retrieval systems and analytics platform. He has led a large team of engineers and engineering managers in building massive scale financial search engine. Prior to Facebook and Goldman Sachs, he has worked as the director of engineering at AT&T, AMD, and many such organizations. gathering vast experience, sharing his expertise, and building a very reliable and a competitive technical team. Passed out as a graduate in computer science 14 years back from Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Khandola. He has completed his master's in business administration from Bangalore University. Today, he has volunteered his precious time to spend among the students from various colleges all over the state of Goa and answer their questions. In this session called Ask Me Anything, it is coined and conceptualized by Sreenath himself. A warm and a hearty welcome to you, Sreenath. And without wasting much time, uh, just a one sentence like I would like to say about Srinath is dream, dream, dream till you achieve everything. Yeah. So today we have an interactive session, as you have said, Srinath. Ask me anything. Okay. And the students over here are really looking forward for the session, and I would be calling each one. Okay. But before they could ask, like, I'll take a liberty of asking you one simple question. What is your self-driven story? I would like you to share this.
Thanks so much, ma'am. First of all, let me start by saying I'm honored to be here. Uh, this is, first of all, thanks so much, respected principal ma'am, Anita ma'am, Sujata ma'am, and I could see other faculty here. Thanks so much for having me here. Uh, I think principal ma'am has been too kind. I don't think I'm there yet, but thanks so much for the motivation. It will certainly take me there. Coming back to the question that Anita ma'am just asked. So my background is to give some more detail. I'm an engineering manager lead. What that means is I manage another other managers. It's just the Facebook way of saying things, but every organization has different ways of doing. In Goldman, I was a VP and a fellow. A fellow is probably the highest title you can achieve in Goldman Sachs. And I had a large team of engineers and engineering managers. And most of our recruitment used to happen from IITs and ISCs, mostly IITs. But just so that I can add some color here, is one part of my career, I worked as a director for Nabler, and I could start a Goa branch. I think it was a few years back. We still have 20 people over there. I think the team is still growing. I'm closely working with the CEO, even though I'm not part of it anymore. So I do see a lot of potential, and this is truly because I do feel that in my entire, right from my schooling to my higher secondary schools, to my college, to my master's, it is the college which gave me probably the most amount of visibility and the thing that I'm truly passionate about. The last thing I wanted to mention is my final year project in government college Khandola was something called diskless systems. That is probably the first version of distributed system that I had built. I mean, this was my foray. I went on to do that at AT&T and similarly at Goldman Sachs as well. Now, in Facebook, that's probably the highest scale you can achieve because it's at internet scale right now. But it all started at Khandola. So I'm really, really thankful for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srinath. Thank you so much. My second question we have from a student, Michael Fernandez from the TYBAC. Are you there, Michael? Would you like to ask?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Michael. Yeah.
Hello, sir. My question is, what were your goals as a student?
Michael, I'm sorry, I missed the question. Could you please ask again?
My question is, what were your goals as a student?
Oh, perfect. That's a wonderful question. Thanks so much. Let me give a heads up that I have sore throat. So please do ask me to repeat if you're not able to understand me. So what were my goals as students, right? I'm just repeating for everyone. I would say my biggest goal was to find out what I'm truly passionate about. And it was building distributed systems, right? And that is something I realized in my first year in Khandola as well. Because now to just take a alum who joined, who was probably a Khandola alum 5 years before, his name was Ajay. And he had developed the distributed systems too. It's truly funny, by the way. And my first year in Khandola, I could see in the library that I came across his journal, and I was surprised that it was way back. I mean, now distributed systems and things are already far advanced, but it was not at that time. I was surprised that other people are working on it, and I was super, super motivated by it. So coming back to directly answering your question, my goal in a way was to find something I'm truly passionate about. And that is super, super important because in larger organization, it's very easy to get stressed out, right? Especially in places like Goldman. Goldman, you can think about your work-life balance goes for a toss because you'll be working probably 12 to 14 hours a day, sometimes even much, much more, right? It's kind of expected. And that's true for a lot of large organizations. But if you are actually working on something that you're truly passionate about, you don't feel that energy drain that much because you're working something that you enjoy. Right? And if you are not working on something you'll enjoy, probably 6 to 7 hours is the maximum that you can do. And that won't cut out in places like Goldman, Facebook, and other places, right, where there is a lot of focus on the impact. So now it's a long way of answering your question, Michael, but finding something that what you're truly passionate about is probably my biggest goal, and I could really vet it at at my college because I knew in the end that distributed systems is something that I'm passionate about, and that's the goal that I want to keep up for my future. And that's, to be honest, that's what I ended up following too.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yes. The second question, the next question, the third question, we have Vedanti, our TYBAC computer science student. Vedanti, are you there?
Anita, before this, I just want to tell you that we are live on YouTube. Okay, anybody wants to, see on the YouTube or go on the YouTube, we are all live. Okay, the link has been sent in the chat box. Okay, so anybody wants, if they cannot get in, they can use the YouTube channel to watch this session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Students, you can share among other students, like, to the YouTube link, please. Yeah. Vedanti, are you there?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Vedanti, over to you. Yeah.
So my question to you is, who is your role model and what are the qualities you admire about that person?
That's a very, very good question. So to honestly answer, my role model has been changing over a period of time. I do remember when I was in probably school or higher secondary, it was Richard Feynman, just because I read a book about Richard Feynman and the book was nicely written. No other reason apart from that. But then I remember that at one point of time, it was kind of Steve Wozniak, because he was kind of the nerd behind the large firm that got developed altogether. And then it eventually became Larry Page, which is basically because of the PageRank algorithm that Larry Page and Sergey Brin came across, which was kind of the foundational to the Google search engine. Right? Before Google, all the other search engines used to exist. And Sergey Brin and Larry Page developed PageRank as part of their PhD thesis. And they wanted to sell it to Yahoo because they didn't want to pursue organization. They wanted to pursue their studies, right? And it's funny because Yahoo at that point of time didn't think paying so much money was worth it. And they ended up being a company, making a company out of it. Right? This kind of goes back to probably kind of following your passion on how it helped. And we all know where Google is right now, and Yahoo and all the other search engines are. So to answer your question directly, it changed over a period of time. But yeah, those were my role models.
Thank you. Dipankar, our TY student, who has done a lot of hard work to put all these things in place. He has a question for you. Over to you, Dipankar.
Yes, miss. So I wanted to ask, how did you plan your time as a student?
Perfect. Now, I might probably give a controversial answer. Sorry, sorry to my teachers. So one thing I really, really loved about the college is I probably was given a lot of freedom in doing what I wanted to do because it was kind of little lotly to computer science altogether. Right? I still remember on the day I was probably presenting my final year project that there was another company, if I'm not mistaken, that came from Gujarat trying to sell diskless systems. And I think my teacher, thankfully, could see that and probably navigate how both are very similar and could work on that. Now, coming back directly to your question, is I spent a lot of time on what I was truly passionate about. And now, remember that it was a lot of late nights too, right? Not only the college time. It is a lot about, for example, in my case, it was knowing Linux. I played around with Linux kernels, and networking in Linux basically, and finally into diskless systems. Right? This is all on my own. This is something I used to do probably every day. Right? I never used to put it for the weekend because again, I used to love this. Right? So it was throughout the journey I used to do this. Now, one thing I really, really realized after joining places like my previous org is all the other foundational blocks are important. Right? You might be passionate about one thing, but I don't think it's fine to ignore any of that. One thing is things like math. Right? Math is fundamental if you are moving to data science. Right? You cannot be a good machine learning engineer if you don't have math background. Right? And same thing with, let's say, computer science. If you take distributed systems, it touches upon various different parts, right from programming to database to networking. I mean, pick anything. It's all part of distributed system, right? You need to know enough about all these before you can make a large amount of progress in one of this. Right? It's a long way of answering your question, but to summarize, how I manage my time is I used to use a lot of my free time into following what I really loved, which was distributed systems. But on the other hand, I don't think I spent enough time on building the complete concrete foundational blocks as much as I could. So it's a funny way of saying that please do attend all your classes. You would realize after probably 5 years, you should have gone through all the fundamental courses really well, understood them before you try to decide to go what we say as vertical, keep on climbing up on that. Because otherwise you will need a lot of time to catch up on your foundational courses and go on. Just to end the tone with, I still have a bunch of books, by the way, like computer networks and stuff like that. I referred at least till some time back. So that should give you a more gist.
Yeah. Thank you. We have the next question for you, Sreenath. I hope you're enjoying this.
I really am. And as I said, I feel humbled and again honored to be here. Thank you.
You're very down to earth person. Our students are lucky to interact with you. Yeah. The next question is from Velanka. Velanka, are you there?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Hi,
she's our
sir.
TYBSC student. Yeah. Tell your
Hi,
question.
sir.
Ask your question.
My question is, what are the skill set we need to have to empower ourselves as a student?
Perfect. That's a great question. And also, please call me Sreenath, to be honest. Right. Perfect. And that's a great question. Now, if I look back on my career, I think what helped me the most is probably having the foundational blocks. Right? This is basically kind of what's in the curriculum too. I would say do not ignore it. Now, my other talks, to be honest, the last few were, at least the last one was in ISC. I have gone to IITs for pre-placement talks from my previous firm and stuff like that. One thing I realized, the biggest difference of change between students of different colleges is some colleges give a lot of emphasis. Students knows that you have to follow the curriculum, right? And in I think during my college, one thing I could have done better is basically I should have followed the curriculum really, really well, right? Which I kind of, these are the things that will give you 2020 at hindsight. But when you are at that particular place, you don't give too much importance to it, right? So coming back, an organization, especially a corporate, right? What they care about is impact. They don't care about they don't care about anything else. I mean, there are a few other skills that are required, but impact is something what you deliver to an organization. Do remember that a lot of these corporates are for-profit corporate, right? So you are there because you add value to the organization. You will not be there if you don't add any value, and that's fine, right? That's fair. Now, to add a lot of value, you have to find out, is it a good role fit for you? Right? Now, you can figure out if the role fit for you by things like, are you passionate about this particular problem enough? Okay, now let's take a concrete example. If you take any large organization which is in technology, and this could be my current firm and any other firm that I have worked with, one thing you will notice is it is purely tech, right? And one thing that tech cares about are things like programming, right? Now, before you jump into programming, you have to have your fundamentals clear. So then couple of takeaways over there would be, get your fundamentals clear, get really well into programming. Now, programming is a vast topic, right? What exactly into programming? The most of the questions that you would encounter is mostly algorithmic and data structure, right? So then it narrows down into following algorithms and data structure. Now, remember that this is not one path for all. This is given that you enjoy doing things like this, right? But this is something that I found that focusing on the fundamentals, focusing on one thing that you truly like, right? And if it's programming, by the way, you have the fundamentals for programming would be algorithms and data structure. So you should be extremely good at it, right? Once you do that, right, then when you step into corporate, to be successful in the corporate, I'm pretty sure that your background would be ignored after a certain time, right? Because corporate do not care about did you come from this country or did you come from this college and so on. Once you get into it, you are at the same pedestal as the rest of the employees. Right? It's how you perform over there, and you keep on climbing up there. And I believe that's truly a very fair system, because it gives you a lot of opportunity by removing the bias to it. There is absolutely no bias there. Now, it's a long way of answering your question, but I would say something on the lines of, again, find truly what you really like, you enjoy doing, right? And get the fundamentals right. Concrete example would be, you like coding. The fundamentals of coding is algorithms and data structure. You get that right, you get a job in a place that you have to do a lot of coding, right? And you grow from there. And you would realize that all the biases are removed, right? You don't have to worry about, did someone come from a different school altogether, a different college and everything, right? No one, to be honest, no one truly cares about that. And even in a different place like London, most of the people here would be from all different countries as well, and different colleges, right? There are people in my team who's from Stanford, who's from all the other colleges. But once you land here, it is just the same. Everyone is expected to perform just the same. The bar that you have, that where you have to show an impact, is exactly the same, right? And I will be surprised if any of us here are passionate about something, land a job here, and you are not able to perform. Because I rarely see that scenario, right? It's mostly about knowing that you want to do that. So that's first step, right? And then you do all the hard work, or what's called as a grind, to basically make sure that you have done your homework in a way, right? You have to do that. Then I believe you have enough opportunity out there. I hope I answered your question. I know that I went a bit on the longer version.
Thank you, Sreenath. Thank you, Valanka. The next question is from Pritesh. He is my student who is having interest in cryptocurrency and blockchaining. Yes, Pritesh, are you there?
Yes, miss.
Okay, go ahead now.
So my question is to you is that what are the upcoming trends and new business and job opportunities in the IT industry?
Perfect. And considering Anita ma'am mentioned it's crypto, I believe you wanted some crypto angle to that too. So I would say that the fundamentals of work has still not changed. For example, uh, my current employer, my previous employers, and okay, let me give some disclaimer. The reason I'm calling my current employer SS, not calling them by name, is because I'm here at my personal capacity, right? Not representing my org and stuff like that. But obviously, you know where I'm working and you know where I was working and so on, is the fundamental still hasn't changed. For example, the interview question still involves a lot of algorithms, right? And you come to an org after finishing your interviews in algorithms, data structure, systems design, and all the other related interviews. Right? These are very generic, right? These are the ones that you are currently going in the college on your courses. Right? Once you land here, then you are assigned to a project. Your project could be cryptocurrency. Your project could be build a search engine. Or your project could be anything like web platform. Right? What that should tell you is literally the end goal of a crypto is something that the firm can expect you to learn once you land in a firm. It's okay to not know about that in your college. In your college, what's expected of you is you know your fundamentals and you know it really well. Okay, and that is true for a lot of organizations. Right? Though that is expected of you. Right? If you to give an edge, if let's assume that you know a lot about crypto, you come to a firm, you still be asked questions about algorithms and data structures. And you'll be surprised, by the way, why is that? And I know so much about crypto and I can contribute. It is because the planning is always for the long run. Right? Algorithms, data structure, a lot of things you're learning right now, that takes years of dedicated effort to learn. Right? And this is the only time you're going to get to learn it. Once you come to corporate, it will be expected of you to contribute from day one or month one and so on. Right? So coming back, my overall suggestion would be I would say, unless you're super passionate about it, keep it a bit more open scope. But B, to add some more color to your question, because it's a good question, is I would say things like machine learning and cryptos, NFTs, what's going on over there. And yeah, at least these two I have seen that suddenly a lot of engineers being hired in this particular space. But that given, do note that the background needed to get hired into this is still very similar to all the other places.
Thank you. Thank
Anita?
you, Pritesh. Yeah,
Hello.
Sujata, tell me.
Anita, I have a small question for
Yes,
Sreenath.
Sujata, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sreenath, we have our students computer science BSc, okay, and they are new, some of them are in their final years and they would like to know, what is the future or what is the market for computer science student, and what degrees they have to add to theirs, because nowadays bachelor's is a degree. Everybody would like to add more degrees to it. Okay, so I would like to ask you, in the you have worked in Bangalore, you have worked in other states. Okay, what is the thing that the company, or what is the thing that the company asks you when you jump into an organization, of what is it required that you add more degrees, or the certificate courses would do for getting a good job at the industries. And another question would be, what is the work culture in India as well as in UK?
These are great questions, man. Let me answer it one by one. So the first question that you asked is, what is the current job market? So since the pandemic, it's very unfortunate that other sectors got hit, but computer science is something that is hiring a lot. These are basically any areas of computer science. You can see a ton of hiring. My previous org, I think, added or planning to add like 5,000 more plus more computer engineers into the team. Facebook is growing, and a lot of other firms that I've worked with, all of them are hiring computer science engineers. Right now, by the way, when I mean computer science engineer, I mean people who work with computer science. Right, this is basically my background too. I mean, I did my BSc as computer science. Right, I am working in an engineering or so. I mean that. Now the job market is really really good, and it is expected to grow a lot because I don't think that we are able to meet the demand when it comes to having really good computer science professionals. That's one. And all the companies that I know, everyone is hiring. And the second one is on the degrees. Now, my view so far, after working at all the different places, is there's a small minor set of companies like Infosys, TCS, and this is what you call as Indian service sector when it comes to IT. That to a certain degree cares about what is your degree, what is your percentage, and so on, right? And there's a whole different spectrum of companies that mostly I have worked in that do not care about any of this. Right. My personal view is the bigger and the most impactful companies, they do not care about degrees or your percentage or any of that, to be honest. What they care about is the impact that kind of the things that you kind of bring to the table. Right? That's the only thing that they care about. So on the degree, my view on this is unless you want to go to academia, but I have zero view. I'm pretty sure you and others can add a lot more information over there. If you are not going to academia, you are going into corporate, and you are targeting top tech companies, right? The degree doesn't matter. Now, one thing to add over there is one of my previous in my previous firm, to be honest, I used to write a lot of letter of recommendations to all the different colleges in US, right, from Stanford to take any college. I used to write because people do want to go and do their masters, right? And it is mostly because this is to touch up on a field of study that you are really passionate about. For example, if I have to take my example, distributed systems could have been one that I would have followed. Right? It's a vast field. I could have done a master's over there, and then I could have gone to corporate, or I decided to go to corporate directly. I don't think it's a bad call to go either way. Right? It's basically what you want to do. Do you want to passionately study, or do you want to work and learn while you go? Right? It's a completely independent choice. But my personal view is there is no constraint on really good organization on having a degree. Right. The slight edge you might get is if you are in IITs or if you are in those top US universities, you might get a better, I would say, campus placement, because unfortunately the kind of large companies do prefer some few colleges. It's just as it is, by the way. We can't help that. But once you get your resume through, I don't think anyone cares after that. Right? So, ma'am, I hope I answered your second question. If you don't mind repeating your third question, I think
Srinath, what I was talking about was the work culture. Okay,
Okay.
in India you have worked for so many years, and now you are at UK. Okay, what is the difference between working in India and working at UK? Like how is the working hours, and how the team and how the things goes on at UK, and what about here? Because in software engineering we learn a lot of these things wherein we talk about the different process models if you are in developing. Okay, so what is the work culture over there, and how is it different from in India?
Perfect. So what I found in my opinion right now is every company has a different work culture, but the top tier companies would have very similar work culture. So in the Indian services industry, a lot of work that we do here are service based. That means you have another what you call as client, and you work for them. So mostly in India, you would have probably some TL sitting somewhere outside India working on that. But my honest view for this group is try to focus mostly on product companies. Now, but by the way, this is completely my view. There is no great thing about product or services. Is what I personally enjoy and what I can probably give an answer about. Now, about the product companies is mostly impact driven. So what that means is number of hours that you put into your job does not matter. Especially in my previous team, where I had a large team of engineers and managers, I never used to check how many hours did they put in. Right now, my team personally was in India, New York, London, Warsaw, and Salt Lake City. Right, this is where my teams were largely based off. Now, I used to interact with my team members in all these regions. Right, one thing that I never asked in my entire career is how many hours did you spend coding, right? Because that's not part of the work culture. The part of the work culture would be what is the final deliverable, right? You are supposed to do something, you delivered it. If you didn't deliver it, then the questions would be around what could have been done better to make sure the process improves, right? And now, coming back on the work culture in India versus London or New York, is one thing I would say that when you are in the top tier companies, it is kind of exactly the same, except that you are a different time zone. And depending upon where most of the work happens, you kind of overlap with probably later in the evening or early in the morning, depending upon if you're working with, let's say, people from Japan or somewhere. Right? But apart from that, top tier companies, they do not have a different working culture, and it is very, very similar. So whenever I used to travel to New York and sit with my team over there, the work culture would be exactly the same. I land in New York, I go to office, I work with people over there. And in London, it is very, very similar. Now that is super high level, right? Now, one thing I do want to stress upon is there's something what most of the companies call WLB, which is work-life balance. Depending upon how the org, your work-life balance can be good to bad. So it is a really, really personal choice. Now, now I don't suggest this to everyone, but in my case, my early part of my career, I wasn't too focused on having a good work-life balance. Now, this is kind of a bad advice. Right? This is not a generic advice. And to be honest, I don't think it's right to ask everyone to give up on their work-life balance because that's not the right thing to ask for. But personally, for me, I did not care much about work-life balance at that point of time. Now I have a 3-year-old, so I do care about having a really good work-life balance. Before joining my current org, I remember discussing quite a lot during my interview phase that how is the work-life balance. And I wanted to ensure that I have a really good work-life balance. And everyone has a different meaning of work-life balance. It could be how many hours you put in. It could be how many times do you want to travel and so on. For example, I don't want to travel too many times now, and I don't want to be away from my family too many times. Pandemic in a way helped me stay at my house, but I'm pretty sure after that I might have to travel like twice a year or something. But that's still okay. So, ma'am, I hope I answered your question, but the super high level summarizing, work-life balance in the product companies in different regions are very similar because it's the same kind of work, you are just at different times, same culture, same everything. It is very good idea to ask about work-life balance before you join an organization because you set the right expectations with the team and the manager. And that's exactly what I did, and that's what I recommend others do.
Yeah, thank you, Sujata.
Yeah, Anita. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sreenath.
Carry on.
This has also answered questions of my dear students. Okay, Smita and Smiley. They were, they also intended to ask these questions. We have a question from our TY student, Siddhant, who has been very instrumental in doing the YouTube streaming. And they have, our TY students have come together and designed a logo overnight. Okay, heads off to this group of students. Yes, Siddhant, are you there? Siddhant? Yes, yeah. Siddhant, you can ask your question to Sreenath.
Siddhant, you might be on mute.
Yeah.
So my question was that what were problems
Yeah.
you faced during?
Yeah. Yeah. Should I repeat?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah. His question was, what were the challenges you faced during interviews? How did you prepare yourself for the interviews?
Oh, that's a great question. So interviews are very different. interviews are very different given different organization, right? Every organization has a different style of interviewing. So for example, the first organization that I worked in, which was is used to ask you to code a product end to end. This is basically you can see how you can design a product to begin with, and think conceptually on what should be the different systems component, then write code, and then finally deploy it somewhere. Right? Organizations did stress upon that. Then certain firms like my previous employer used to focus a lot on math related questions initially, right? So I'm not I'll not be surprised because these were kind of considered as quant roles. So you would have questions on probability and others. But this is not the norm, by the way. This is kind of an exception. The other tech companies I have worked on mostly ask questions around algorithms, data structures, system design, and so on. Right? Now, to generalize, one thing that you are going to really help is you should think about the role that you want to get into. Remember that there are roles like web development and all the other places where the stress is never on algorithms and so on, right? But generally, if you talk about top tier companies, they're always focused on algorithms, data structure, system design, and everything, right? Now coming back to preparation, if you want to go the extra mile, what I say is you want to go through the grind to get into the really, really top tier good company, focus a lot on algorithms, data structures, system design. This is foundational block for anything computer science, right? Once you have that completely clear, every other interview would sound similar to you, right? There would be some hits and misses, but you don't have to worry at a large scale, right? Because these are the foundational block to any interview. Of the probably hundreds of interviews I have taken, maybe many hundreds of interviews I have taken in my career, I would say that most of the questions would be on, I used to ask a ton of algo related questions, right? Then this is basically understanding algorithmic complexity, right? Then you talk about O notation in space time, in space, CPU, and so on. Then you have data structures, right? How do you design a trie and things like that? And then you have systems component. You take a large system, let's say a system like booking.com. What are the different components of booking.com? Right? This is on the system side. So you take these three aspects, you go much deeper into that, then I can let you know that most of the interviews that will be asked in future would be a combination that uses some of this.
Yes. Siddhant, I hope you're happy with this answer. Thank you. Thank you, Siddhant and Sreenath. We have students from any other department who would like to ask Sreenath question. Yes, you can unmute and you can ask.
Hello.
Yes, Harsh.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm a first year student, and I've taken CS also. So, what my question is for those who want to build a career as you, or who wants to go into work into like reputed companies like Google or Facebook. So, what did you wish to know in your earlier 20s? Like, you wished like I should have known this, so it would have made a huge impact or something like that. So, which could have saved you a lot of your time. So that's my question. Yeah.
Thanks so much. That's a wonderful question. Now I'll talk about the mistakes that I did. So that kind of explains probably what I wanted to do things differently. Is I don't think I focused enough. Sorry about my voice. I don't think I focused enough on building the foundational skills on every aspect that I wanted to. For example, as I was touching upon, I don't think I focused enough on algos, DS, systems until a bit later. So I was pretty focused to a certain degree, but I could have done much more, right? You should leverage your teachers, right? You should ask a ton of questions on these particular spaces and explore a lot more. That's something that I should have done a lot more than I did. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did to a certain angle, but I could have done a lot more of that. The second thing I probably didn't do enough is I remember going to at least few state level seminars and so on. I remember one where Anita ma'am pushed me to, it was on embedded systems. I really enjoyed it. I should have done a lot more of that. One thing that you would realize with different places like IITs and sorry for the other places too, is there are quite a few people who goes to many different seminars and present there. Right? That is something that I should have done more. A, that will help you build a network. You get to actually meet people and you get to see their work. Right? And B is when you're working on presenting, you learn a lot about that topic because you get a ton of questions in good conferences. Right? So you learn a lot, then it gives you that positive loop, positive feedback loop into improving basically your topic. Right? So I would say at least these are the two things I should have done much better. Right? Now, slightly tilting on the other side, where I think few things that helped me in my career that I think I did okay in my early days are things like finding an area which I'm really passionate about, right? Distributed systems. And as I said, my college really helped me, right? Because that was my final year project as well. And I could go a lot deeper into that. So that's one of the things that helped me. Probably focusing a lot more on algos, data structure systems, and going to conferences. That's something that I could have done much better overall.
Yeah, Harsh, thank you so much. Principal ma'am also has a question, and she would also like to ask you something. She has put her question in a chat. We have Sreenath. We have started a vocational stream in software technologies. Yeah. So regarding this, like she would like your interaction with the vocational students, and also like help us know like whether there are takers abroad for the vocational courses. It's a yeah, that's a question, like who are the takers for vocational programs and courses.
Perfect. I'll be honored to collaborate in any way where I can actually help make any program better. I'll be super happy to do that. On B, I currently don't know enough about this particular topic, so I'll certainly love to find out more. On at least in London, I can try to find it out with the people that I know in London, and I'll probably look forward to working with you to put more
Yes.
structure to it.
Yeah. Srinath, that is very nice and kind of you. We have little time. Srinath, I hope it's okay with you.
Yeah, it's okay with me, ma'am. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the participants. Like to tell you that Srinath has been busy, like doing his shifting of his and setting up his home over there in a very short span of time. Like he had to do so many things. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a question like from Sankalp Kalangutkar. Okay, and he wants to ask you like which master's degree you would suggest after BSc in computer science and why?
Perfect. Now, my suggestion is, I think I touched up a bit on this previously as well, is only do masters if you truly want to do masters. Don't do masters just because it gives you an additional degree, right? This is basically if you want to go for corporate. Again, if you want to go to academia, I believe you should directly speak to guys who are much better than me in this space. Now, in corporate, don't do a degree just for the sake of it. As I said, not too many companies care about that. What they care about is actually truly the impact that you bring to the table. Now, that being said, if I were to pick a master, given that I want to go for the study, in my case, I would have picked at that point of time, I would have picked something in distributed systems because that is something I'm truly passionate about. And at this point of time, I would still pick something like distributed system or a bit more on computer vision, which is machine learning, right? Because that's something I want to know more. So I would have picked that, but I would say that don't be compelled to get a master's just because you feel that it is required. Do a master's because you actually want to learn something. This for corporate, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We have a TY student Sonu who is really keen in asking, and he's also like you, Srinath. Like he likes to do a lot of coding and he likes to be in the lab. Sonu, are you there around?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sonu, you can ask Srinath sir your question.
Hello. What will be your advice to us?
Perfect. Thanks. That's a very broad question. Now, now, what would I kind of advise myself, right? If I probably were in let's say my TYBSc, right? How at least I would have looked at it. The one thing probably I would have advised is don't rush into getting I would say any job that that probably comes your way, right? I know that's everyone's personal situation is different and it's completely fine to do that, but with a view that you want to work on something that you truly love, right? Because I don't see, so in my career, all the people that I consider successful that I have met throughout my career and the people I look up to, one thing common across all of them, they are very, very passionate about the things that they're working on, right? Now, truly, when you're passionate about it, you don't have to spend too much energy, right? And what I mean by that is I'm jumping into this meeting from my previous office meeting, and I'm going to jump into next meeting right in next 3 to 4 minutes, right? I don't need to prep for that meeting because that's something I truly love, right? I can just jump into that meeting without losing any energy and continue working on that, right? And this is something I learned because I love doing the things that I'm doing right now. I'm pretty sure if I hated my job, I would be completely stressed and probably need a break and just go for a walk or something before I can switch context from here, this session that I really enjoy, to something assuming that I don't enjoy, right? Which is not true. So the advice would be again, right? Don't waste your college years. This is probably truly the only time that you're going to get your foundations right. The big companies, it is not like they care about your foundation, but you need to have a really good foundation to succeed in a really good company, right? And this is the only time you can probably work on that. Once you get into corporate, your expectation is you deliver something to the org, right? Which I believe is kind of a brutal way of saying it, but it is true. And I personally feel it's fair because it removes all the bias. And the only thing that's considered is what you actually brought to the table. And that's how all the biases are removed. So coming back, use this time to experiment, code a lot, ask a ton of questions to your teachers, right? And find the area which you're passionate about. Don't waste this time. Once you go into corporate, you are not going to get that liberty ever again.
Thank you. Thank you. We have one final question. Many questions that were there for you, like some of them have been answered. But this final question is from my TY student of our college. And he's there waiting, like, for a long time. Avinash, are you there online?
Yes, miss.
Avinash, yes. He's our Avinash from TY BSc. Avinash, you can ask your question.
Hi, sir. Sir, what is your success mantra?
Thanks. So again, look, all this period, thanks for calling me, but please do call me Sreenath. But again, I would say that in my case, so I think I'll be lying if I don't say things like luck kind of plays an important role, right? But do remember that to be lucky, you have a lot of hard work to put in first, right? It's not like somebody's just going to hire you to a firm. That requires a lot of probably running into the right recruiter, running into the right people who can you speak to and stuff like that. But on the other hand, the fundamental thing that remains true, which you have to do is you have to get a bunch of things right. For example, in my case, it was distributed system. So I had to get systems design right, algos right, data structures right. These are not the things that you can kind of fake it to get a job in a very top tier company, right? Certainly not, right? Because you don't have one round, you have many, many rounds with people who have been in this place for years and years. Right? In my previous role, I had professors. Right? For example, my previous boss, he was a prof at University of Rochester in New York, if I'm not mistaken, and a PhD, a known PhD in theoretical computer science. Right. So when you interview with that person, you can't you cannot go without having enough background or substance. And people know it very clearly. So I would on the success mantra, I would say that luck does play some amount of role, but before that, you have to be absolutely clear on what you want to do, the thing that you're passionate about. Right. So on the success mantra part, I would say finding the passion. I know that sounds cliched, but I mean, maybe one of the reasons why people repeat that again and again is probably that's true. And the second thing is get the foundational part right? Because that is super important. Right? So now, directly answering, get the foundational part right. Find something that you are truly passionate about to work on. Right? Luck will play some role, but if you meet enough people, don't worry about that. You don't have to optimize for that, basically. Thanks. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I think you're muted.
Is Nihal around? Is Nihal around? Yeah. Sreenath, you have really expressed yourself. I have not seen this Sreenath as a student, but yeah, you have spoken about your role models, and you have given the idea about the roadmap, and how important the college years and the studies and the library and the project development has been, and everything was having the passion behind it. Without passion, enthusiasm, you have said that things don't work, and you don't feel happy about it. Yeah. And as you say, the energy, the switching, because of the love that you have, the dedication and the sincerity. Yes, we have come to an end of a very interactive session, and I would like the HOD of computer science department, who is always talking about algorithms, data structures, and who's an expert in this field, Ma'am Sujata. Please, I request you to kindly propose the vote of thanks. Yeah. Over to Sujata.
Yeah, thank you, Sreenath. It was a very good session. Okay, and I think everyone enjoyed the session. It was a type of a session which was completely different. Otherwise, usually we have sessions wherein the speaker speaks, and then there are very few questions at the end of the session. Okay, so this was a session, which it was an interactive session wherein the students were eagerly, for the last 2 days, I could see the students, waiting and coming out with questions. Okay, they were really struggling to find out what questions we should ask for Srinath. Okay, so today most of the questions, and the students are lucky enough that you have answered many of the questions, motivated them, because we require students to be motivated. The final year students are on the verge of getting jobs, and the entrant, okay, the first year students have just come into computer science, and they are new to this concept of computer science. They don't know where it will end. Okay, how they will go about, because they have not yet decided which are the streams, which is the subject which they will be taking up at the final year. Okay, so this we wanted for the first years to basically know that there is future for computer science. Okay, wherein the students will know where are the opportunities where they can always go in. Okay, so with these few words, I would like to thank also the principal who gave us the opportunity. She always tells us to bring your old students, who have already gone abroad or who have doing very good in their career, okay, so that we have an interaction, the students have an interaction with them, okay. So she was the one who motivated us to bring our alumni students onto the onto the webinar, so that our students get an interactive session with them, okay. Also the faculty members from my department, you must be knowing many of them, okay. There are few faculties who have who have joined, okay, recently, but I think you must be knowing Gracie, you must be knowing Anita, you must be knowing me, okay. I don't know who else was there during your time, okay. So these were the few of the faculty, and new faculty has already been joined us. We have young people joining us in our department, so our department has grown with one more department added to it called the Department of Vocational Studies, okay. So we have two parallel departments running in our computer science session, okay. So it was a wonderful session, okay. Our faculty members have put on a lot of work in getting this webinar done, plus the students. I'll tell you the enthusiasm they had today, the way they were today. I was taking a lecture, but half of the mind were looking at it like, how the webinar, what questions, I was just talking, and then they were saying like, ma'am, we have to think about like this, we have to do like this, the enthusiasm they had in making the session, okay, live on YouTube, okay. I really, they are still there, many of our students are still there in the college who are making this webinar live, okay. And they have done an excellent job, okay. Heads off to our computer science department, okay. And thanks, Sreenath. We would like whenever you are back in India, come, do visit us in our department. It is pretty long time you have not come to Goa. I don't know whether you have come to Goa, okay. So if you are there in Goa, please visit us, okay. We are longing to see and to interact with you, okay. That could be a live session. Now we are doing it online, but there we could have a offline session with you, and more, by then more and more questions would be coming. And you also have settled up in UK, so you will have much more things to tell us about Facebook, how it all works about and everything. So it was an excellent, thank you, Sreenath, for all the time you have given to us. Thank you very much. And all the students, okay, who have made this webinar a very grand success. And Anita, okay, who has really was the instrumental person who could contact you and get you on the webinar and interact with the students, okay. So thanks a lot to Anita also, and to you also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have our special faculty from Bandekar College, who is my husband, Mr. Sunoj Raikar. Yeah, he has to say something to Sreenath.
Yeah, hi Sreenath. I did not log in here, but I logged in on the live link, YouTube link. And what I found is that, your way of expressing the things is really excellent. And I think so many students must have been motivated with your interaction. And as the HOD said, Sujata ma'am, that it was a different type of a session. Even I found it a really different type of a session. You must have motivated so many students with this. So keep the good work going on, Sreenath. It was a really excellent session from your side. And also congratulations to the Government College Khandora team of computer science.
Thank you. Yeah, last but not the least, I know, Sreenath, you are having very little time, but let me officially thank my technical team, Professor Likita Shetty, Bhakti Gawas, and the young and chulbuli assistant professor, Vandana Savil. It was, their efforts, to do all of this. And I request all of you to kindly fill up your feedback form regarding this webinar. I request Likita to kindly put the feedback form in the chat box and also on our aim a WhatsApp group. Yeah, do not leave the session without filling the feedback form. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I like
Thank
to
you.
thank Sreenath. I like to thank Sreenath. Yeah, you may kindly be ready for your next plan of work. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you so much
Sreenath.
again. I
Yeah.
feel honored and grateful that I can contribute to the.
But before that, like I would like all the students to switch on your cameras and come on the screen live so that we can have a screenshot with Sreenath. Yeah, you don't want a photo with Sreenath? All of you? You can put your videos
Yeah,
on.
I think everyone should. Yeah, I think everyone should put up the videos on, and the screenshot of the full this can be taken up and kept it for a record. Okay,
Yes.
so I think everyone, please put on your videos. Okay, and somebody at the college can just take a screenshot. Likita or somebody could just take a screenshot.
Yeah, please fill the feedback form also. Yeah, none of you all want a photo? Only
Please
me and
stop.
Sujata Miss. Sujata Miss, please put on your
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Bhakti.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Principal Ma'am, Vandana, Avinash. Yeah,
Yes,
Michael, very good. All of you are there. Yes. Come. All the group is there. Very good. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, hello. Just I want to just say hello.
Yeah,
to
Gracie ma'am
Sreenath.
has joined.
Yeah, hello, Sreenath. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, Michael.
Nice
all
to
are
see
there.
you after a very long time.
Nice to see you as well.
Yes, nice to hear about you. A good session. I had to join little late because I was traveling. Okay, but I will see your session on the YouTube. Yeah, so nice to see you over here. And you gave a very good session to motivate the students. Yeah, all the best to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Not here. 1 minute, huh? One minute. Yeah, all ready? Yeah, all ready? Put your videos on, all of you. Yes, I'm getting ready for the screenshot now. Smile, Sreenath, Sujata, Avinash, Nihal, Dipankar and team. Teachers come forward. Likita, Vandana, say cheese. Principal ma'am, please put on your video, ma'am. Arre baapre. Yeah. Screen color. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Congratulations, all of you. You may kindly leave the meeting. Thank you, dear students. Yes. Bye, Sreenath. All the best.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you so much.
Sreenath. See you.
Hey,
Yeah, see
Sujata,
you.
you didn't come. Put like, share, and subscribe. Siddhant, thank you. Thank you,
Siddhant. Good job, huh? Good job, Siddhant
Good
and
job,
the team.
Siddhant.
Very nice.
Kar.
Okay,
Chalo.
chal. See you all. Bye.
See you all. Bye. Bye, Vandana.